I think what Oklahoma City learned about 20 years ago was that the future of economic development wasn't in throwing all the incentive monies at the companies as much as it was creating a city where those companies wanted to locate, where the workforce was going to be. And once Oklahoma City learned that quality of life was really the key to economic development, our whole method of building infrastructure changed. You still have to have incentives occasionally, but if you don't have the quality of life, you're not even going to get a look from corporate America.
And then the issue with the river, I just thought that was an interesting anecdote to a city dealing with just a historical issue that they have to overcome, geographical issue. Talk some about that.
We had a river that didn't have any water in it, and I know that's hard for people in Mississippi to understand, but in Oklahoma they had diverted all the water out of the Canadian River, which flows through Oklahoma City, and so we just had a big ditch. But what we did was we built 3 dams, and so we created really 3 river lakes. So it looks like a river, even though it's probably more aptly called a lake because it's created by dams. But we now hold rowing and canoe and kayak events on there. In fact, we had the Olympic trials last spring. So it's hard to imagine today the exciting rowing opportunities that exist on a river that didn't have any water in it just 10 years ago.
Right, and maps for kids. Talk about how important education is in municipal economic development.
Well, the first thing we did was kind of build some exciting infrastructure amenities downtown, but then we realized that unless we addressed the problems inside the school system, we weren't going to attract new residents downtown because people care a lot about the quality of the schools. And so we came up with a kind of a taxation program where the city would use its political capital to, in a sense, bail out the school system and rebuild new or refurbish all 75 buildings in that inner city district. And so today it's largely done, mostly completed, and you see new buildings in neighborhoods that hadn't had any new construction in a long, long time. And people are repopulating the inner city.
One issue in Jackson, I don't know if it's the case in Oklahoma City, but just over the last 10 years, a lot of businesses that were downtown are moving out to the surrounding counties. What do you call that? How do you deal with that? How is that good or bad for a downtown?
Well, you can't be a suburb of nothing, and I think the entire region should understand that you've got to protect the core of the city. It's easier to say it than it is to do it. But in Oklahoma City, one of the secrets to our success is that we've convinced the suburbanites that their quality of life is directly related to the intensity of the core. And so our citizens in the suburbs have been willing to tax themselves for inner city amenities to try and build the downtown. And I think in general, people certainly care about their neighborhood, but they also care about their downtown. And in Oklahoma City, we were trying to be a suburb of nothing. And now our downtown is a very vibrant place to be, and we have thousands of people living there and more coming.